Muddy trails today. It's been raining, which kind of reminds me of being on Vancouver Island, actually, but we're in Utah. Okay, everyone, I am chilling out here, sitting cross-legged. Here we go. We're gonna have this. We're gonna have this talk about Pam Bondi and why people should be aware that what she did wasn't a meltdown. Pam Bondi has been evading this hearing for a while. She's been playing little games and trying her best to avoid being questioned. Because Pam Bondi knows exactly what's on in these files. She's probably looked at them. And we know they've been playing games. People who are truth tellers, they don't play games. One of the biggest issues here with Pam Bondi is how she has all the information. She holds all the cards. She knows more than the people questioning her, right? We know this. She's got the files. She's seen the atrocities. We're going to talk and walk. So Pam Bondi is being questioned on what she knows, when she knew it, what's really in the files, also things that are redacted. And the big stink is people are flipping out because her responses people thought were her melting down are looking ridiculous. But I'm here to tell you that this is very strategic. What Pam Bondi did was very, very strategic. It wasn't emotional at all. And we might like to think that it's because it's a woman and she's flipping out because she's scared. And this might be true. She might be nervous. She might be caught into a corner. Those things might be factual. And when somebody who is a narcissist is caught in a corner, what she just did is what they will do. She's not trying to cover up her involvement in the Epstein files. She has been placed there to cover up other people's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, she probably, allegedly, we'll say, goes way back to when she was an attorney general in Florida. And she was probably covering for Epstein there. But she has a vast history of covering for Epstein, from what I can tell. And when Trump appointed her as AG, I knew what was up. I knew we weren't going to get Epstein files. We weren't going to see anything because I knew that she had been covering for Epstein already. So that is what Trump wanted. Now, back to the whole concept of her, freaking out, as they would say. That was strategic. That was on purpose, and it has quite a few intentions for her to behave in the way that she did, where she's erratic, she's smear campaigning, she's not answering questions, she's playing dumb, or she's asking things like what does like simple words mean that she knows what they mean, or she's screeching about the Dow Jones and ridiculous stuff like that. What's the purpose of her behaving this way? Because to the immediate public, it looks like she's lost her mind. But she actually hasn't lost her mind, of course. She's doing this strategically. If you watch any kind of newsreel, talking heads who come on news, a lot of politicians, they do something very similar. They might behave a little variation, maybe not as shrill and shrieky as her, but they will do stuff very similar. Or they'll evade questions, they'll blurt out things, they'll be disruptive. One of the purposes that it serves for her to act so spazzy would be a good word. So such a Gen X word, I guess. But one of the reasons for her to behave this way, she's wasting time. Obviously, people know that. She's wasting time. She's interrupting conversations. The other reason is you're exhausting people. Almost tripped. She's exhausting people. This is going to exhaust all the members of Congress. She's exhausting the audience. She's becoming impossible. And people get tired after a while. Maybe they'll stop questioning. This just wastes time. So while she's wasting time over there, they can keep on their narratives over in the Trump administration. So another reason You don't get to hear what Jeffrey Epstein did. She never gets to answer that. She doesn't get to take accountability. And all you hear about is smears about other people, which she's lying. She's reframing, she's lying. You also don't get to the crux of the heinousness of this crime. She can avoid actually showing you how brutal the crime is. You don't actually get to understand how extended in every facet of life that it is, how it was global, how many people involved, how it's probably still infiltrated in this very system. What you hear is her shrieks, her screeches, her hollers, her cries of indignation, her mind games. And when narcissists and psychopaths are in a corner like that, they will do these kind of behaviors where they kick off and you're thinking they're erratic, they're out of control, but they're actually trying to create the chaos to make you react. They're trying to destabilize. She's destabilizing the audience. She's destabilizing people in Congress or anyone who's questioning her. She's trying to destabilize Massey to put them off their footing. Then they can get, a soundbite to make it look like they're crazy instead of her. It's like this sort of chaos that narcissists and psychopaths create. So you're always looking somewhere else, or that you're totally confused. You're going to be so confused that you don't know what information is what. It's like you're spreading chaos. And just like in a pond, when you throw a bunch of rocks all around and you can't see your image and your reflection in the pond clearly until you let the ripples relax and go calm again. No one will be able to clearly see, at least that's the plan, no one will be able to clearly see what's going on when she's creating this much chaos until it calms down and it's too late. They've already advanced their plans. That's the number one strategy. And isn't it crazy? Like her Dow Jones rant, you can almost hear Donald Trump speaking in her head, like just tell them how good rich people have it right now. Tell them how the stock market is improving for rich people. Just get them to focus on that. That's one thing about narcissists that's really annoying, is they think they're cleverer than you and that nobody will figure them out. They actually really do think that. They're so clever, you just won't figure out ever that the stock market is really a rich man's game. She's not only a psychopath, she's being used as a tool. She's definitely being used by the people who were in with Epstein to keep covering up. And so it begs to question what her real involvement is with Epstein and how she knew people. People should really start digging into her pretty seriously. They really should. Now, out of all the chaos she created and the false accusations she made, she even accused, I believe, a Jewish woman in Congress that her vote was anti-Semitic when this woman, had a grandparent that died in concentration camps. I think Pam Bondi has a few flaws. I don't think she was that good at it. And you can almost, like I said, hear Trump whispering in her ears about what to say, that she had her talking points. She is so shrill. I think that's what makes it really bad. There are other people in politics and in news, you can see them doing this, that they speak this way and they do the same tactics, but they're better at it than her. They seem to be a little more convincing. She just came across as hysterical. And the fact that we're all talking about, they want us to post stuff of her being hysterical and all that stuff to take the attention away from Trump, to take the attention away from where people really want to focus on. When you're in a cult, that's what you do. Everyone gathers together to cover up for the leader, to protect who they think is their strength. This gets me to one of her other weaknesses, at least from my perspective, is what I saw. And look, I've seen this in other politicians, whether they're Democrat or liberal, but you see her being blatantly partisan. She's not bipartisan. She's supposed to be the Attorney General. She was appointed. She's not elected. Her job is to, with the judiciary. Her job is not to pump up Donald Trump. She's not Donald Trump's PR campaign, right? But that's exactly what she was doing. And so she really gives it away and shows her corruption, calling him the greatest president that ever existed, talking about how he's made the economy better for people from the Dow Jones. The fact that she did that really exposes her as a corrupt DA, or sorry, not a DA, a corrupt AG. And I don't know if she saw it this way, but I saw it this way the minute she started to do that. There's other AGs that were probably just atrocious. I think they had a little bit more in check where they didn't show up as their president's PR campaign. That was a bad decision. And to me, that says right away that that's Trump's idea, because only Trump would want her to do that. Only Trump could be so stupid and so narcissistic and self-absorbed to want her to point out how great he was, which incriminates them. And what it shows is that she's very partisan. She's doing work on behalf of Trump. She could have just showed up, answered the questions, and not said anything about Trump. The fact that she pushed and promoted Trump so heavily should be the really big takeaway from this. Clearly doing dirty work on behalf of Donald Trump. And that alone should put her career in peril. The sun's breaking out, it's really nice. And I run another channel called The Clusterfuck. Sorry for the caca word, but get used to it. There'll be one here and there. I'll try to keep it at a minimal on this channel. But I run another channel where on Sundays for about 2 or 3 hours, we talk about a lot of cults and religious stuff. And if the one thing I can tell people when it comes to politics, because it's giant cultism as well, but if there's one thing I can say to people, is that the most important thing is to keep your own personal sovereignty and not become a sycophantic worshiper of any political party or any political leader, whether it's George W. Bush or Obama or Bill Clinton or Donald Trump or Biden, Kamala. You can't be sycophantic to these people, because it starts to become, instead of the truth, it starts to become about, I want to win and my team needs to win, like it's some kind of football. When you dive it down to that, where you'll defend Trump or Obama till the death, no matter what they do, you're losing your identity. Your identity is now absorbed by Donald Trump. You are losing your sovereignty. Instead of the truth, you just want to win. Win for Donald Trump like it's a fucking football game. Win for Obama. And the truth really is they all work for the same people. Pam Bondi's playing her part. And Nixon's corruption got exposed. He might have been set up for that. I'll admit that. But when it got exposed, Nixon didn't go to prison. His attorney general did. She should be very careful. She's been covering up for them for a very long time. And I don't think they'll have a problem throwing her ass under the bus to maintain individual sovereignty and your own identity separate from all this stuff. It's the only power that you have, your power over privacy, your power for your 2A, your Second Amendment, your freedom of speech. That's all for individual sovereignty. Unfortunately, we do have a system that's very clever and sneaky and has made many occult followers over the decades, defending political leaders that don't deserve their defense. And I can list other people who have done these distractive tactics. I think she was trying to come across as tough boss bitch, Trump lover, maybe for their base because they know they have cult followers. It didn't really serve her the way I think she thought it would. But she did a good job distracting, because people are talking about posting her stuff. People are talking about Pam Bondi looking crazy. And, all the sound clips they show of her is basically her lying about the person who's questioning her. The other revelation that came out was that Trump's administration, and at least under her as Attorney General, they've stripped most of the investigative components bare, so no one's really investigating a lot of these crimes or crypto crimes or anything like that. And it also came out that she has been tracking members of Congress, like web search. So basically they're invading people's privacy, they're targeting opposition. It's really disturbing. She's a nasty one. Whether she started as a psychopath, I don't know, but she definitely is one now. That's why Trump put her in that position. We'll probably put her there so she would make sure no one would touch these creepy elites, and she's still doing that job right now. And that whole performance, that whole shit show that we seen was basically her chaos to distract from the real information. That was her way of deflecting, reflecting, and intimidating. The times they do that to scare people, to frighten people, to intimidate them so that they won't question anymore. People are like, no, we got some questions, girl. We got some questions. It's not our job to worship the president. Even if we voted for him, it's not your job to worship him. It's your job to make sure he does what he said he was going to do, and that he's not corrupt and abusing his position. So the people who won't do that, they won't question their dear leader. Those are not people that have logical or even remotely reasonable mindsets. It's a lot of mega people who are sovereign, and they said, this is shit. This is corruption. I won't stand for satanic pedophiles. They've literally said it, which is good for them. You should applaud them, because regardless of what party you support, if you have to come out and say, hey, and speak against it and point out its wrongs, even though you voted for them, that means you can self-reflect. That means you can look at yourself and call out a lie when it's a lie. I always say on my other channel, observe, don't absorb. It's really hard not to, because this kind of stuff, like I said, it keeps the water rippling so nobody can see the reflection clearly in the pond. Nobody can see what's really going on. And ultimately, that's the goal of Pam Bondi, is to create chaos, because that's what narcissists and psychopaths do. When they're being put in a corner and when people are onto them, they create as much chaos as possible so people can't see the truth. All right. So that was my little bit of a rant. And we're walking back here. It's a little bit different, but it's cloudy. It feels like a different day because it was so sunny last time. I've been studying cults for a long time. And at first, I like 1, 2, 3. And then as I began to study them for years and look at who was starting them, where the money came from, I realized, a much deeper, darker aspect about our culture, in that most cults are not organic or like ground roots, grassroots sprung up. They are actually constructed by our own government institutions and agencies and funded as major mind control. And Pam Bondi and the whole Epstein shit, it's just one little part of this fucked up culture that we're in, where honestly, up is down, down is up, everything's inverted. And when you look at Pam Bondi, she inverts everything that you would do to get to the truth, answer your questions straight, no chaos, be professional, be polite, get to the point of the information. She inverts every bit of it. And that's how you can tell she is diabolical. She is compromised. She has been for years. And she's an agent of the Trump administration. She is not working on behalf of all American people. I feel like walk and talk is the best way. That's the crazy today. I didn't ever intend about talking about politics or cults, but I just come at it from, I'm a sovereign person. You can disagree with this if you want to. That's your issue. That's up to you. But you have to be a sovereign individual. Otherwise, you'll just become a clone for whatever political leader, whatever religious leader, whatever corporation, whatever they want you to say. You'll say it. You'll have no independent thought of your own. What could be a worse hell than that? Hi guys, I'm sitting back in my car, and I just forgot to say while I was out in the walk that we can't let this go. This is something we cannot let go, because at its core, Pam Bondi isn't just protecting sexual trafficking. There's a whole bunch of other twisted things that go along with this. Pam Bondi is essentially protecting a global cult of people who not only prey on young girls and sexually traffic them. There is ritual murder involved. There is medical experimentation involved, cloning weird stuff. There is entrapping children in cages and torturing them as part of the abuse to make them serve you. There is ritual satanic murders, snuff films where girls get lit on fire. All sorts of things could be involved in this, and it's not just in America. It's all throughout all of the elites, all through all countries. It invades everywhere on our planet. And the Epstein list is just the tip of the iceberg. And so we can't let this go. We can't let evil people like Pam Bondi, who is running cover and protecting these evil people, we can't let her distract us. We cannot let go of the Epstein files and anything else that's associated with it. And if anybody out there is interested, I would do a serious deep dive on Pam Bondi, because I am going to assume that she's been doing this kind of satanic, pedophile, crazy cover-up shit for a long time. And that's all I have to say. I'm going to go in and I have to, it's not funny. I know I'm smiling. I'm trying to be positive because you do have to observe and not absorb, because it will drive you crazy. I'm going to go in. I've got some more renovating and cleaning up to do, and I will talk to you guys later.